we're going to go over how I would go about it, and hopefully you pick up some tips on how to make it work better. So I'm getting your chat, so chat must be working. So if you see that chat, then you can get a chat from me. I can see your chats. So I think we got it. Do you see my chat? Sweet. So everything's working. So use the chat to ask any questions. The more questions you ask, the better it is, because I slow down a little bit. I breeze through this pretty quick. But we'll do a little case study, and I'll show you things that I'm looking for in the historical things and what you would write into the phase one template, and what would be recognized environmental concerns. So if you've got any questions, just go ahead and ask. Otherwise, I'll just go ahead and start. Okay, so let's go ahead and start. So basically, before beginning the writing process, you should have in front of you or online or the files accessible the following items. And we'll go over these items a teeny bit, but you need to have the owner user site questionnaire or interviews. And you probably need to review those before you even start. All completed interviews, and some of them may be from agencies that you felt necessary to call or someone else felt necessary to call. You should also have a field checklist. And it's very important you have a field checklist that fits the particular site. And so in this case, we've done a vacant land, but the field checklist, which we went over in part one, really tells you a whole lot about the site for you to begin writing the report. And hopefully somebody's already typed that information in for you. If they haven't, okay, but if they have, it really makes your job easier as an environmental professional to write the report. You need to have available to you the RecCheck 1 mile radius search report, aerials and topos, city directories, fire insurance maps, all file reviews from agency contacts, anything like that should be in front of you. Once you've got them ready, you should review these documents in order of your preference. And as I review them, I'd be writing them in the phase one template. Now that's really important because you don't want to waste any time. So there's got to be a process for you to get a good feel of the site. One of the most important things is you want to have right in front of you or a pad of paper and a pen so you can start building your case for recognized environmental conditions. Now keep in mind, recognized environmental conditions can be actual contamination or problems on site, or potential problems, or potential concerns, or potential vapor intrusion. A phase 1, according to the standards, doesn't involve any sampling. That's a separately contracted thing with your client if you do that. So you're looking for either concerns on the site already or potential concerns, all of them being recognized environmental conditions. Now you can wrap a bunch of things up in one as you identify. So what would I do first? I would review the owner interview and go ahead and put those into the template. So let's go ahead and look at a template. I think it's right here. So here's your standard template. I'm going to zoom in so we don't have this here's your standard template. If, when you order a 1 mile radius search report, you can select whether you want a template or not. If you're signed in as a client, it'll automatically put your client name and that kind of stuff here. You can see in the template there's a sample photo, but you would replace it with the cover photo we said to take on the site inspection, the very first photo, and you'd insert that in there. Also, right here, it'd say your company name, so you wouldn't have to worry about it. And this would automatically shoot in once you're registered with our company. Here's a standard letter explaining the report a little bit from you. And here's the cover page or title page of the report. And it has the address, project number, whatever your project number is. And you can insert those things later or when you order. It's really up to you. This is the table of contents that doesn't really change, but can change if you want. Remember, this is a Word document, so you have total flexibility. Now, the first thing is we're looking at the owner interviews to get an idea. So you'd go to section 5. You wouldn't be filling anything in the findings, because that's where you draw your conclusions or the conclusion summary. Hopefully, you had a word processor or somebody from the field typed in all these site facts already, and they're already in there. And that makes your job a lot easier as a report writer. If not, then the first thing you should do, and you're taking a lot of this information from the owner interviews, is you're going to type in the site facts from that and from the field checklist. So let's go down to the owner interviews. And why do I do the owner interviews first? Here's the owner interviews. Everything's a simple table. Everything has an ID so that it can all be summed up. Every fact you come across that creates a recognized environmental condition, you're going to sum up in one place, and you need to do it. So here you would type in the date of interview, the interviewee's name, what the title is, relevant discussion, and whether it's a condition. Is it a rec, or is it none, or is it a de minimis, or is it a historical? This is where you type all the different conditions that you can come up have. And then eventually all like facts that you come up with, whether you get them from an interview or you get them from site inspection or you get them from an agency or the database, you're really going to gather all these facts for each condition and put them in the you're going to put them in the conclusions. So right here, conclusions and recommendations, section 6 is where you sum them all up and have all the sections with all the comments building each recognized environmental condition. So if you have multiple recognized environmental conditions, you're going to have all these things all over your report where you're going to grab and cut and paste them into here. And that's hence the tables make it easier to do. Keeping in mind, if you're a big user, we can go ahead and make this template fit your current template. If you want to use ours as is, that's fine. You might want to review it and change some of the terms, limits, and liabilities. So right away, let's go ahead and look at an interview and see some of the stuff we're going to get out of it. This is a typical interview. This is of one of the sites. This is our case study. We can see they've known about the site for 10 years, so they don't have a lot of history on the site. It is vacant land. That's really important to know. Proposed property use is industrial warehouse. So being in industrial, if this thing's agriculture prior, has a history of agriculture, then we know that it's going to be industrial, and they're going to grade the whole lot, probably cover the whole lot with asphalt and building. So there's not going to be any exposure to agriculture, and so that's probably not going to be a wreck. But if they're building residential and they're agriculture at one time through history, then it might be different. But here you also get all kinds of information. So you get right away, you get the APN number, you get the street address, you get if there's buildings or not, you get the acreage, you get municipal supplier, septic system on site, you get all this stuff. So what's important about a septic system? Well, it's really important because you're looking to see if there was automotive repair, or if there was a barn on the site and they dumped chemicals into their septic system, then the leach field could spread those chemicals around. So all kinds of things play a part in this. And this questionnaires, the interviews and questionnaires are very important. Everything here is no. You just go through real quick. Everything here is no. And you fill out things as you're going. So I'd review all the owner and interview questionnaires. Keep in mind, we have these templates. They also match our report writing template. So they're very, very handy. So that's the first thing I'm reviewing, building a picture. So right away, I'm going to write down, and I'm going to write number 1, and I'm going to write septic system because I want to review that. Now I know it's vacant land, so obviously there's nothing there that I can make a wreck out of or concern me. The purchase price versus the market value isn't a big difference, isn't anything. We've got 3.85 acres, doesn't mean much. We have nothing else. So we didn't learn a real lot, but we learned something. So the next thing I would do is I'd go through the field checklist. And let me see if I just happen to have one. No, I wish I did, but I don't have a field checklist. But basically, you'd go through looking for staining, looking for all that stuff, and start building your case. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through the site photos because we still want to get an overview and really understand this site, what's adjacent to the site, all that kind of stuff. And keep in mind, we already should have written in here into the report the field checklist. And that's kind of important to have. Let's see if we've got our figures. We do. Good. See if we have our field checklist. We may have that. No. So basically, we're going to review the site photos. And as you can see, when we were in the field, we talked about marking arrows on a map with the photo ID so we could follow along and see what the site actually was. Now, I want you to note, I'm already looking at this photo going, wow, look at this group of trees here. And it had a septic system. So it probably had a house on it at one time. I've got industrial to the west. Pretty much I've got industrial on all sides. Industrial or commercial. So what I'm going to do is I'm still building a picture of the site. So it's definitely vacant land. And let me just write that somewhere just to keep reminding myself. And I'm going to look at the site photos. Now, looking at the site photos, I can see OP01 is from the east side of the subject site facing west across the southern portion. So what do I see there? The very first thing I see, I can't see the ground surface. Why can't I see the ground surface? Heavy vegetation. So right in the phase 1 template, I would be looking at the ground surfaces, and this would be an exception. And so I'd go ahead and write this in the exception sections of the phase 1 report while I'm thinking about it. Remember, you're trying to build your report as you're going along. And so you actually have an exception section exception section right here. And I'd write that in and I'd reference my my site photos. And basically, you couldn't view the ground surface because of the vegetation. So remember, I'm building a picture of this site, and I can see first photos this, second photo that way, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. And now I'm seeing what's all around the site. So let's look at this. First of all, I see Wholesale Electric on this building. I'm going to keep my eye out in the database for that building. That's kind of catty corner. I don't have any more names of buildings. I wish I did. But I can still see that the vegetation covers the whole ground surface. Here again, I'm close to where that residence is, and I can see if there was a septic tank there, they're not going to be able to see anything. See that? See that? Okay, this is where eventually a sidewalk will be put in. And there you go. I've pretty much seen the whole property. Now, if I have any concerns other than the vegetation, like staining or whatever, I would write those in the appropriate section of the report writing template. Or I'd make a note of them to start building my thing. So I had septic system, no on-site observations. So I wasn't able to see this, any pipes or anything. So now I reviewed the site photos. I got a good idea what I'm looking at, what the area looks like. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm probably going to review the RecCheck report. Now we actually did the RecCheck report to look for things, but not this particular site. So let's real quickly go ahead and look at the RecCheck report for this particular site. Keeping in mind, we're writing in the template as we're going along, reviewing this stuff. So here's our report, our 1 mile radius search RecCheck report. We want to make sure it is the correct site, and here this is the correct site. Let's then verify that looking at the 1/4 mile radius. And you can see our site isn't listed, but what's really important to see here? Tell me, what do you see in this that you should know? Well, look right here. You have a building on your vacant lot. Remember, the star is where your subject site is. And then you have a lot of yellow around you and a lot of green. That's interesting. So right away, I'm thinking, well, my site isn't listed, so I don't have to worry about that. But I'm going to fill in the database section of my site right away. I also have 3, which happens to be that wholesale electric. So let's go ahead and see what they're listed for and see if they're a concern. Well, they handle hazardous materials. They got a RCRA thing, HazSwiss. They do disposal. They have an oil water separation sludge thing back in 1996. So that's been there a long time. Do they use any solvents? Because remember, you're looking at solvents for vapor intrusion onto your site. Historical vehicle parts at one time in that building, wholesale. Historical manufacturing back in 2013, Royal Wholesale Electric. Consolidated Electrical Distributors. Manufacturing. Historic Machine Shop, 1997. So that could be a concern. So number 2, I'm going to write down machine shop adjacent. And this could be potential vapor intrusion. We know at this site that the groundwater is a couple hundred feet deep and really is not going to be a concern. So the real thing you're going to get is vapor intrusion if you get anything. So we want to see if we can build a case. Right now we've got 1 fact, machine shop, and we've got has materials usage. And you're making these notes on the side because you might make these a concern. Air district. Okay, so look at the address. Suite F. This may not even be that property. This could be another property. We just don't know for sure, but we can click here. And so This whole thing all has the same address, and it goes all the way to F, depending upon what unit. So hopefully our site inspector went and looked at that and identified in the field checklist if there was any concerns, any staining, any monitoring wells. If not, we're going to have to ask them. Excuse me. So the air district, the air permit is the first thing. And remember, one of the most important things you're looking for now is potential for vapor intrusion. So this is, let's see, is there any date on this thing? Sometimes agencies give us dates, sometimes they don't. Doesn't look like it. No. So I might want to look at that permit, but another place to find the air permits, and one of the things you might want to do while you're reviewing this, is look at mapped air permit. So what this gives you is people who handle volatile organic chemicals or semi-volatile organic chemicals, and anything close to your site just may have a chance of creating volatile vapor intrusion on your subject property. So see that little symbol? It's yellow with a flag. Well, that's something you want to look at. And so yellow with a flag right here, here and here, and here are volatile organic chemicals, whether they have a spray booth or something like that. Keeping in mind, you're in medium to coarse grained sands and a little bit of clays. This is in the desert. So, you know, most of this isn't going to be a problem. But we looked at 3, so we made a separate thing for vapor intrusion, and I don't see any other real problems that are close enough to really make a concern to you. I mean, we could see what maybe 5 is, but that's across the street. So let's go ahead and look at 5. And 5 is they handle hazardous materials, big deal. Historic manufacturing products, mold makers, plastic molding. Plastic molding did use a lot of stuff. They're a small quantity generator. They fall under CUPA because of that. Remember, if you don't know any of these definitions of the database, you can go ahead and look. So I got a little problem with this one. So 2016, they basically reported that they didn't have any hazardous waste on site for some reason. And then 4, we've got a well. I want to look and see where 4 is. So I'm going to jump to it. 4 is right here, right on this corner. And that's something we may want to address. So let's write down number 3, which could be a wreck, is a well. Now we want to put all these facts in our template. And so literally, you scroll down to where the databases are, and you have a section where you can write whether they're a concern or not. If you don't know yet because you haven't built enough facts, that's fine, but go ahead and mark what you want to do. So right here, we know that this could be a concern, right? And it may be all these or some of these. So you may want to copy this and then go ahead and paste it in everything, so that then you can come back to, see if it's a concern. And that'd be for all of these, and all 5 also, because 5 could be a concern, but 4 could be a well. And you want to find out what 4 is also, right? So you would go ahead and fill some of this out and see what you're doing as you're going along. And you're rebuilding. Remember, you're building a case. So right now we got 3 potential wrecks. We don't know yet, but that's pretty good. There isn't much else we need to look at in the wreck check report, but one of the things that should have already been typed in, let's go look at it. Let's look at the executive summary. Coordinates. We should keep track of the quad to make sure when you review the USGS maps, we've done the right quad. Already shot into your report is EPA, flood zone, soil type, and that's already shot automatically into the template. Also, really quickly, the first thing you can see when you go to the executive summary is the subject site's not listed for anything, and that's very important. So we've reviewed the wreck check 1 mile radius search report, and now I've got a really good picture of this site. I understand what's going on. I understand vapor intrusion could be a potential. I like to review aerials and topos next and write those into my report. So that's where we head. We're going to head. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Let's go to the aerials. And here's our aerials topos. We're going to want to make sure we're on the right site in case we messed up, but we're on the right site. And we see we've got a couple quads and a 15-minute quad. That's pretty cool. And we go back all the way to 1900. That's really good. And so the first thing we're going to do is look at aerials. One thing you'll see is all our aerials and USGS maps either come with a red box around them or come with a parcel map overlay. So you can find your site really easy. There's no need to put all this into a light box or something like that and have to adjust them and play with them and mess with them. That takes time. Remember, you're interested in writing this report and interpreting the data as quick as you can. So you've got to just go as quick as you can. Now, your assessor should have wrote the adjacent sites and you'd know which one's F, E, F, G, and all those other things right here. But if they didn't, you might need to do a little research on those and get on a mapping program you can click on. So right away you can see that's our vacant lot. And pretty much as you already know, it's surrounded by commercial industrial properties. That's 2012. This is 2005. So one of the things you're getting is a historical date range. So right now, your site is vacant from 2005 to current. Put that in the historical section in the template. There's a timeline historical section in the template where you would write this. And remember, as you're going through the template and going through this stuff, you can write this stuff in as you're going. So right here, we have a little change and you make a different note for the aerial photo. It'd be 2002. The properties to the north of you and northeast of you are just being developed. Everything else is still there. So now, 1994, vacant land to the north, the northeast, and the south and southeast. But yet to the west and east are still buildings. And you're starting to see some features you haven't seen in other photos on our subject property. One of the things you're seeing is, what is this? It looks like, you know, a row crop or something. So make a note of it. Number 4 could be ag, put question mark, and write what year this photograph is. 1994 photo. Okay, so we're going on. Blue lines just tell you basically where buildings are because they're terrible photos. Here's our subject property. Now, we definitely have a residence in among these trees. We have row crops all around us. And the only development is a lot away from us. So I would write that in the aerial photo review section for 1980. So then you already put ag 1994, but do 1980. Get rid of the question mark because you know there's ag. So this is going to be a potential concern. So here we go. This is kind of a cruddy photo at 75. This is a pretty good photo. This is 66. And look at, we definitely have a house and maybe a little outbuilding here, driveway in, and it's all ag. So you can put in photos going all the way back to 38, shows the site as ag. So I go 1994 to 1938. There's your timeline. Ag. So now we're on to USGS maps. We're starting with the most newest one, but we have a contour line on the USGS map that goes right through our property. So right away we know 1068 is our elevation, and we should write that into the report template if it isn't already there. It usually is automatically injected into there from the summary page. But what's right below the 1068? We're talking about that corner. So can anyone tell me what is front and center just below? And we already made it a potential wreck. Well, it's a well. It's a water well. And we should be able to get sampling records on that water well to not only see the depth of groundwater, but also find out if there's any contaminants in the groundwater near us and below us. Although I'm guessing it's so deep, it's not really going to matter. So the USGS maps will say things like mines and digging and agriculture. And you can see we're all agriculture. As they get older, they have a whole lot less information, but we've got a building. We knew we had a building. And we can get the date the building was there, going all the way back to 1911, 1906, 1900, that residence was there. That's pretty incredible, isn't it? Pretty incredible. So you're getting your history of what the property was, and that's always important in determining if you have any wrecks on a property. Okay, that's aerials. Any questions so far? Okay, the next thing I would do is I would normally do fire insurance maps. But in this case, there aren't any fire insurance maps. So you need to get a an address range for your fire insurance maps. And the best way to do that um, is go to a mapping program and click on some references or businesses or whatever and get a date range, an address range. So when you go review the city directories, you know what that is. So in this case, we're going to review city directories. And you're going to see we've got Hermosa Avenue and Turner Avenue, the corner of that where the cross street is. And then adjacent, we've got 6th Street. So let's go ahead and look on something to see that. So here's the rec check. Let's go to, here we go. So 6th Street is the street southern to us. In Hermosa is right there, and you can see Hermosa is our main street. So where the cross street is, Hermosa and 6th Street, is what's going to concern me the most. Let's look here again. Yep. I have no idea. Let's see. 6th Street. I'm guessing Turner Avenue. Hermosa turned into Turner Avenue at one time. So we're looking for cross street, and we're looking for adjacent. You always should start at the newest city directories to find things. So here we go. We got Hermosa. And remember, there's a section in the report to write in your findings. You don't have to write everything. You can also cut and paste some of this in if you want. So here's Hermosa Avenue. So we're looking for what? 6th Street. We're looking for 6th Street, right? Oh, there it is. There's 6th Street. So right away, we're going to start getting some addresses we want to look for. So let's zoom in onto this just a little bit. So 9253 is across the street. Not very close to our site, but that's about the best we can do. So write that down, 9253. And let's go see if they show us a 6th Street. And let's see if we can get an address off of that. So now we have 6th Street. We're looking for Hermosa Cross Street. Anyone see Hermosa? I haven't seen Hermosa yet. We know there's residences, but we need to see where Hermosa crosses the property. There it is, Hermosa. So right away, we know that on 6th Street, one side is 10096, Fastener, Southwest, Villa Park, R Square, Rancho Air Inc. I'm guessing 1096 is our subject, is that adjacent buildings to the west. (1096). So now we have our address ranges and we can start looking for all kinds of things. Bailey Court, that definitely goes the other way. I want to see one other thing. Lucas Ranch Road. Let's go back to that rec check. And let's see if we can site location map. Topo. Archibald Avenue. I don't see Archibald Avenue, do you? So let's go back to the city. I want to look at one other thing. No, I don't see the court. Right there would be a court, but it doesn't give us anything. So let's go back. Let's see if we can find on 6th Street Archibald, but I doubt it. It could have changed names too. So we already got Hermosa. But it'd be nice to have a little more verification. Bailey Court, Lucas Ranch Road. Archibald Avenue. There we go. So now one thing we know for sure is that there's now another road, which is Lucas Ranch Road. So we're on the right side. So there's no doubt that this is the buildings adjacent to us, 1094 and 1096. And right away, you can go ahead and put under machine shop and vapor intrusion number 2, the city directory leasing to start building your concern. So what do we see if there's anything in there for a concern? And you know, we have some sort of manufacturing, outdoor products. We have a HVAC company that's immediately adjacent, and those could all be a concern. So put that in your rec number 2. So now we've reviewed 2007. Let's jump down to 2000. Let's do Hermosa first. So here's Hermosa Avenue, and we know we're in the 9200 block now. So all we have to do is find the 9200. And that's going to be, gosh, somewhere right here. So I don't see 6th Street anywhere. And we see it stops at 9177. And it goes all the way down to 4th Street, but 6th Street would be further out. So here we go. We're looking to 9253. We've got it right here. Computer products, that's about it, but they don't show 6th Street for some reason, and no idea why, but it doesn't matter because we still have our listing. Let's see if we can find anything on 6th Street. And if you thought any of those were a concern or whatever, you would put them with that same thing the case number 2 that you're building. So here we go again. We've got 6th Avenue. 6th Avenue, and we're looking for 1096. And there's Hermosa. So 10,096 we can still find. And these are the sites right adjacent to us. These are the sites that are, we've got Royal Wholesale Electric. That's cool. We got Luna Printing, volatile organic chemicals, medical technology, woodworking. All that should be listed as potential for vapor intrusion. You might have to do file reviews of those sites in order to see what kind of disposal and that kind of stuff. And you may be able to find all that in the RecCheck report too. So we're building potential vapor intrusion if they've ever had a spill. So write that into your thing. So we're getting a lot of valuable information. So we did do our history, and we know by a certain date that pretty much that was a residence at one time on Hermosa. Now remember, it was determined that Hermosa turned into Turner Road at one time, and we don't know if the address has changed anything. So let's look at Turner Road as being possible Turner Avenue. We know we're in the 9200 block. So we have a residence at 9316 on Turner Avenue. That could be the site. We'll never know for sure, but let's check out 6th Avenue and see if we get that cross street. And it's Turner, because now we're looking for the cross street of Turner, right? Yes. So we're verifying all our data by looking for cross streets. Sometimes there isn't a cross street, but we're looking for 10,000. And we're looking for 10,096. And here's, so we could go ahead and look and see if 10,094 or 10,088 are still the same things. And they probably are. So we're seeing what's here, but in this directory isn't showing cross streets. Be nice if it was, but we could verify these sites as being the same in previous things by looking at them. And we see, like we knew already, that 10,096 didn't exist. Remember those two buildings did one lot over, and that'd be 10,094. So those aren't necessarily a concern to us. But we can note in reviewing the directories what's going on here. So you get the gist of how you write these reports. And you're trying to identify recognized environmental concerns and add them. Right now, I'm just scanning through to see if I can find any that still have cross streets, because cross streets are the great, but the older directories lots of times didn't have any cross streets. Turner Avenue. '92, no. And we don't have our residence anymore. So there's 6th Street. Definitely no cross streets. And that's too bad because cross streets really help. Let's see if we have them here. Hill Drive to Vista. Sometime, oh, here we go. So let's look at this. So we're going to go up to Turner, East Arrow Highway, 24th, 25th, 26th, Humboldt, 8th intersects, 6 intersects. So at the 6th Street intersection, all we have is a residence. And when is this? That's pretty interesting stuff, right? 1951. Let's see what 6th Street says. 6th Street, even though Hermosa shows it, east from Archibald, 8th Street, east from Archibald Heavy. Yeah, see, it doesn't show Hermosa or Turner, so who knows if it really went that far, and the numbers are really low. But it was all residences back in 1951. So pretty cool, right? So we just learned a lot about the property. So now we've done the rec check, owner interviews, CDCs, aerials, topos, site photos. We pretty much outlined all our concerns and recognized environmental conditions. So really the next thing you do is you go sum all those things up in all the different sections. So let's just go through the report writing template. Let's just go through the thing real quick. And I'm going to show you. Now you've gone through all those things and you go fill in everything you can. So right away, everything is a multiple choice. So let's go down. Section 2 is just the scope of work. Site description and reconnaissance. A lot of this came off of the field checklist. The site was surrounded by vacant, residential, industrial, commercials, or industrial and commercial. And you highlight, you cut everything out, make it dark, and do industrial and commercial properties, and you're done. You can put in the date the site reconnaissance was done. Like I said, in the geologic conditions, all this would be normally shot in, and it is. And then you got fill material questions, and you got a few selections for that. And you can always add selections and multiple choice. Groundwater in the facility flows in what direction, inferred. Right off of the checklist that matches the report thing, you've got whether waterways, wetlands, pits, lagoons. We know that's all no. So really quickly, all you would do is go like this and delete. And it's really easy. And you've got your answers. A lot of this is made simple in the template so you can fill it out quick. But it also keys you on everything you need to answer. Existing storage tanks, you got a table if you had storage tanks on site, previously on site. Hazardous substance storage handling. Here you go, no storage handling in hazardous areas inspected. You just delete all this. And you've already answered. You're developing your report as you're going through. Specific hazardous materials. Remember, you identified a bunch of things, so those tables are going to be filled out. Clarifiers, sumps, trenches, all that kind of stuff. And keep in mind, once you fill out all this stuff, stressed vegetation. Did you see any stressed vegetation? I didn't. Adjacent to your sites. This is where you put it in, and that directly comes off the field checklist. Historical aerials. This is where you mark it in. Historical maps. There weren't any. You've got multiple choice for everything. If you review building department records, fire department records, you probably want to review building department records to see if the septic tank is listed. We have no reason to assume that anything was dumped on that septic tank and it was just used for residential. So I don't see it as being a recognized environmental condition. You got all the agencies represented. And then, of course, you got the records review, which makes it real simple. And if you don't want to go that far out, or you don't want to list these things, say it goes out to a quarter mile, if you only want to go out to adjacent or whatever, you can delete these sections. And it's real easy to delete these sections. Just go like that. Come up here, delete rows, done. Wow, no biggie. So as far as you want to go out, you can answer the questions. If there's a lot of listings, of course, you don't want to go out very far. You can also just delete innocuous listings. So you think this road is just worthless, delete just this row. See that? Pretty cool, pretty easy. It's a Word document, so it's really easy to use. So once you get everything filled out, answered, and that kind of thing, you sum up your recognized conditions, and you're going to have de minimis, historical, controlled, recognized environmental conditions, and you're going to have regular old recognized environmental conditions. And so you just sum them up here because you've been writing those facts down. You know where to get those facts, cut and paste in here. Description is condition, action suggested. So if you have potential vapor intrusion to the site because you reviewed files on that site, you saw monitoring wells on the site, saw all kinds of things, and you know they had vapor intrusion, they had a large spill of volatile organic chemicals or heavy usage, you can put that in there. Whether you do total estimated costs or not, you don't have to. You can delete this section. Keep it in mind. So you can just delete a cell. But let's delete this row. Boom. It's not there anymore. Isn't that amazing? Again, we can also make this template if you never put in pricing or estimated pricing for next step actions. We can delete that from your template. So each time you use your template, you don't even have to go in and delete it yourself. So that's pretty cool. You put in the appendix, everything, always the 1 mile radius is in the back. So you've got it handy and you got it with you. All that you sum up, bring forward, and you answer how many recognized environmental conditions is the potential for soil or groundwater contamination, low, medium, or major. If it revealed none, you need to state this statement. That's in the ASTM standards and in the AEI all appropriate inquiry. Okay, anyone got any questions? That's pretty much how you streamline. By using our systems, by using our forms, by using our field checklist, by using our database report that automatically shoots into the template, all these things save you time and make sure you don't miss anything. It keys you on everything. The report writing template keys you on everything. We also have a whole bunch of standard answers in a separate form. And I think I can even show you that. Maybe not, but we have standard answers separate form. And yeah, I don't see it. So it's all neat stuff, easy to use. So if you want those forms, all you have to be is be our client. Susanna would be glad to send it to you. And I hope you use the template. And if you use it a lot, we'd be glad to work with you to make that template fit you just perfect. So, anyone have any questions? I hope that helped. I hope all I hope is you picked up a little something to help you do a better, quicker, faster job and protect yourself from any liability, and also saving time and money. So that's pretty much the talk. Thank you for the presentation. I hope to be a client soon. I hope you are a client. We'd really like to have you as a client, Elijah, and we'll go from there. Well, thank you, and everybody have a super duper afternoon. I am going to sign off.